It's October 1st. Get it? Mean Girls? I know it's October 3rd, but we don't have a live show on Sunday, so we're going to have to roll with October 1st. First day of October. Ladies and gentlemen, we have gotten through the first month of football, and it kicked off in a beautiful way, Week 4 did, to lead us into October fall football with the Bengals topping off the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why we've got the lights orange to commemorate the Cincinnati Bengals with a 24-21 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Evan the Goat McGoatson with the game-winning field goal. He had his first miss of the season. Yes, he did. But I guarantee that's probably going to be one of the only 3 kicks at max that he misses. I'm calling it. That dude is great. He's amazing. McPherson, ice cold, only 21 years old. Pressure does not faze him. 2 game-winning field goals so far this season. The Jaguars looked great on offense. James Robinson is back for the last couple of weeks that I've been saying that he's a buy low candidate in fantasy football. I hope you guys bought low on him because he's going to be that RB1 for you guys that you guys so desperately need. How about this Bengals defense not really living up to expectations? And like I said, they were my sleeper of the week in the Fantasy Football Starts and Sits video. And in that video, I said that if you're watching this video after Thursday and the Bengals defense totally bombs, my bad. I'm actually going to give a little bit of a story regarding my picks for the Fantasy Football Starts and Sits videos. So I used to do Thursday night football games, like included the players that played on Thursday night in those videos, right? And then it was 2018. Before Derrick Henry became Derrick Henry, he was not that great. I don't know how long you guys have been watching football, but with the Tennessee Titans, when he was given the reins as the RB1, he was losing work to Dion Lewis in the beginning half of 2018. Well, in the last quarter of 2018, I said that Derrick Henry was going to be the bust of the week on a Thursday night football game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's where Derrick Henry was born because he had a 4-touchdown game, and he was known in that game for his 99-yard touchdown run. He had like freaking 30 fantasy points in that game. 40 even. I don't know. And then since I said that he was the bust of the week, the people that watched that video after Thursday began to comment, "Oh man, good call on the bust of the week. That wasn't the best call," which is like, okay, yeah, I agree. And then other people were just like, "Oh man, you're stupid. You're an idiot." Block. Not that I'm soft. I just don't want negativity in my life. And since then, I was like, okay, I started seeing a lot of dislikes on that video because I said Derrick Henry was going to be a bust of the week on a Thursday night football game, and I was wrong about that. And so since I saw a lot of dislikes, that it hurt my views, that hurt the amount of revenue I brought into my YouTube video. And so since then, I was like, all right, well, from now on, moving forward, I'm not going to do Thursday night football picks. I'm not going to include them in my starts and sits. And I've been good for 3 years. 3 years since then, or actually 2.5 maybe, of not including Thursday night football players in my fantasy football starts and sits videos because of that same reason. Like, if I'm wrong, people are going to go on those videos and say, I was wrong, you're an idiot, and they're just going to unsubscribe, tune out, whatever. And I think in that same video, actually, I had Allen Robinson, who was on the Jaguars at the time, as a must start. And he had a great game. But people ignore that to focus on Derrick Henry and that bad call. The world will focus on your negatives and ignore your successes because I don't know what it is. In the social media, they love controversy. They love to be a part of it. With all that said, in 2021, people caught on to that. It was like, why don't you just mention Thursday night football games? You haven't been talking about it. Why just talk about who I should start and sit? Actually, last week I had a guy say, I'm surprised that you didn't mention the Panthers defense as a start against the Texans. They were a start. I didn't put them in the video just because of that sole reason. If the Panthers were a bust, people would have tuned out. Well, I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just say the Bengals defense was a sleeper. And here we are again. People are saying that, man, that was a bad call. And I agree, it was. But that's going to lower the views. There's a lot of dislikes that are going to be coming in just because of that one call as opposed to the others that could be correct later on this Sunday. So, with that said, moving forward, I did Thursday night picks before, strayed away from it because of the negativity that I got. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just bring it back. And now that I brought it back, I'm like, okay, yeah, I see the comments and the reaction to it. So I'm probably not going to do Thursday night football games just because of the negativity and people tuning out and unsubscribing due to it. So yeah, long-winded answer to say I suck at calling the sleeper of the week at defense for this week at least. It was the Bengals, and then I was completely wrong about that. But what we got going on today is Fantasy Football Friday. Okay, we talk about PredictionStrike. Okay, the stock market of the NFL. You guys have been signing up for this, have been asking me, when are you going to release your PredictionStrike video? It is today on this live show. I'm going to split this up and then put it as its own separate video later on. And then I'm also going to be talking about PrizePicks that I do every Friday, which is the overs and unders on fantasy football projections. Give you advice on that so you guys can win some serious money this weekend. Dude, I was going to say something. Let me wait till I get to the PrizePicks segment, and then I will tell you the big news from last week regarding PrizePicks. But you guys are continuing to comment in the chat, so I'm very appreciative of that. Let's go ahead and acknowledge some of you guys. Good morning. I need help real quick. Do I keep J-Rob after that performance last night or take A.J. Brown? This is from Jack Quarantano. You got to keep J-Rob. I've been telling people to keep J-Rob. I had J-Rob. I traded him away because I had a killer deal. I wouldn't say killer. It was for Mark Andrews and Myles Gaskin. I needed a tight end desperately. And I was like, all right, J-Rob is a step up from Myles Gaskin, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta get a top 5 tight end. So in instances like that where you got a killer deal, sure, but if for A.J. Brown, a wide receiver, where wide receivers are just so deep, you got to keep J-Rob in that instance. Unless you're getting a running back like Myles Gaskin in the process, or Chase Edmonds, like a lower tier running back along with A.J. Brown, sure. But no, I'd keep James Robinson. Octavio, good morning. Miguel, hey, daily check-in. Good morning to you. New stream hype. Good morning, everyone. Dude, Jeff Fields, McCormick, you are hype every single day. I love it. I freaking love it. Miguel, love McPherson. Yes. The next Justin Tucker. I'm going to run that quote into the ground until he becomes the next Justin Tucker. Let's see. Kiet Tran, Bengals D, scored 1 point. Yep. Where'd you get 7 points? Did I mention 7 points? No, I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the show, starting with the NFL news and notes that we have going around the league as for today. Let's start off with last night's game. DJ Chark suffered an ankle injury, and he is going to be out indefinitely. I'm not going to take this opportunity to say I said to sell DJ Chark, and it wasn't because of the injury. I can't predict if a player is going to get injured. I can't. But I hope that you took the opportunity of selling DJ Chark high when I mentioned him last week as one of the sell high targets. Actually, I think this past Tuesday. And the week before that on PredictionStrike, I said, you got to sell this guy's stock. But the injury, I did not expect that. He's out indefinitely. Laviska Shenault is going to be that guy that takes a step up. A lot of his passes, his receptions were on the line of scrimmage. But Trevor Lawrence last night seemed like he was taking some deep shots with Laviska Shenault. It seems like Urban Meyer and all of them have that trust in him. Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault, big step up in the wide receiver category with DJ Chark out. LaShawn McCoy retires as a Philadelphia Eagle, best known as being the leading rusher in franchise history for the Philadelphia Eagles. A debatable Hall of Famer. I mean, he has 2 Super Bowls. Yeah, just look at the stats. Look at his resume. 2 Super Bowls. Don't worry about if he played in the Super Bowls or not. Spoiler, he did not. But one of the best runners of the 2010s. And, I'd say Pro Bowls, All Pros, amazing snow game against Buffalo. Or maybe it was the Detroit Lions. It was the Lions because Calvin Johnson with the snow in his helmet. Ooh, iconic. 2013, such a good year. But LaShawn McCoy retires, Philadelphia Eagle. Congrats to him on an amazing career. Joey Sly has been released by the Houston Texans. Swole Joe will now look for another team after Kaimi Fairbairn is set to be activated off of injured reserve for the Houston Texans. Lamar Jackson, back issue, did not practice for a second consecutive day. Fridays are always telling as far as their fantasy football production and if they're going to be starting on Sunday. So be on the lookout for today and see if he's at least limited in practice. Josh Jacobs, he is viewed as questionable for Monday Night Football. However, for you guys that are thinking about starting him in fantasy football, be advised, because John Gruden, or a source on Twitter, stated that John Gruden is not opposed and not afraid from starting Peyton Barber again in that lead back role like he was against the Miami Dolphins. So if you have Josh Jacobs and that's the only guy you can start, pick up Peyton Barber. Pick him up, and then the week after you can drop him because Josh Jacobs is going to be the guy. Melvin Gordon dealing with a leg injury along with the ribs issue, so he has been sidelined from yesterday's practice. So this is a big hit. And I actually had a guy ask me a question yesterday about Javonte Williams. What are my thoughts on him? And I said, oh, well, if Melvin Gordon, he's questionable with the ribs injury. If he's limited or if he doesn't play, yeah, Javonte Williams becomes a start in fantasy football. I mean, the leg injury just adds on to the fire that Javonte Williams probably is going to be the main back. It's going to get the majority of the carries. Melvin Gordon, if he plays, highly unlikely that he does play, won't get that much work. And then the last little bit of news I wanted to touch up on for you guys that have any sort of Chicago Bears players in fantasy football. Andy Dalton has been limited in practice. So I don't know. Take that out however you want. I know Allen Robinson hasn't been looking great. Darnell Mooney has been targeted quite a bit by Andy Dalton. But this could help David Montgomery in the run game. They could have more stability at the passing game and just rely on Montgomery and his legs. And he could get 15 to 20 carries in this game against the Lions. But that is your NFL news and notes for today. Moving on to PredictionStrike, the stock market of the NFL. You can make some serious cash. I always mention this all the time, but the biggest cash that I made is I bought 30, 35, 40 shares. I don't know how many shares I bought of TJ Hawkinson when he was at 73 cents. And then I knew that he was going to have an amazing game or two, went up in projections. I made 200% in money. Now if I put in more money, yeah, I would have made lots more. I only made like maybe 40 to 50 extra dollars, which is still, I mean, I'll take that, man. That's bills I got to pay. But this is what this segment is about. Telling you those players that you need to buy, sell, and hold. So I'm going to give you 3 players that you need to buy, 3 players you need to sell, and 1 player that you need to hold via PredictionStrike, the stock market of the NFL. So the first player that I want to mention is a player that you absolutely need to buy, at least for this week. If you're looking to make quick cash and then turn it around and sell him after this week, I mean, Tom Brady instantly becomes a must-buy at this point. I mean, he's going at $18.77 a share, which is a little pricey. He's up 10%, a change of $1.84. But look at the analysis. Pass-heavy game for the Bucs. That is going to be the game plan. It will revolve around Tom Brady and his arm. They will take shots downfield. This is so predictable against the New England Patriots. Brady is going to be the star of the show. It's going to happen. And if the Patriots do an amazing job, guess what? Brady is going to continue to pass the ball. Even if it takes him 50, 60 passes in this game, he's going to make sure that he gets at least 2-3 touchdowns out of this. So he's projected 21 fantasy points or so this week on PredictionStrike. I mean, I think he's going to top that. I think he could score over 21 fantasy points. And if he does, that $18.77 share goes up in price. So I'm going to leave it up to you. How much money do you want to invest? If you invest a lot of money, like a few hundred in Tom Brady for this week, you are going to make a lot of money. But if you just buy like 1, 2, 3 shares, you'll make some money. It won't be that much of a difference. But Brady is a player that you need to buy. Buy number 1. Player that you need to buy number 2. I'm laughing because it just kind of goes off the whole narrative of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having former Patriots on the roster that want to excel in this game. That is Rob Gronkowski. Now, he's a little bit cheaper. He actually dropped in price because of his injury and didn't have the best game against the LA Rams. $5.65 a share, down 4.86%. Again, pass-heavy game for Bucks. Game plan will revolve around Brady's arm. Gronkowski will be a force in the red zone for sure, but he'll be force-fed targets. I mentioned this yesterday. It could be if the Patriots, at best, absolute best, do an amazing job at stopping Rob Gronkowski and limiting him, he could go 4 receptions for 17 targets and a touchdown. That's 11 points right there. And I say 17 targets on 4 receptions. If the Patriots do an amazing job, Brady's going to continue to force feed him targets. This is the most predictable thing ever. And if this doesn't happen, then I'm going to come on to the show on Monday and say, I apologize. I cost you guys some money, whatever. But Gronkowski, Brady, this projected 11 points in fantasy football this week, Gronk is going to top that, especially in PPR. This is based off of PPR. So all he needs is 4 or 5 receptions and a touchdown. Minimum. Like 3 receptions, maybe 10 yards and a touchdown. That's 11 points right there. That's very doable against the New England Patriots. The last player you need to buy is the guy that's taken over now for Christian McCaffrey. That is Chuba Hubbard. Now, Hubbard is only going to be available for maybe a couple weeks or so, but I'm saying that you need to buy him for this week if you want some good money to be turned around for the next couple of weeks. So he's going for $2.48 a share, hasn't dropped, hasn't risen up in price. Matt Rule stated that the game plan won't change much. This is from a quote that we read on Time2Football yesterday. Wants to give Hubbard the opportunity to shine. Highly likely he'll mimic Christian McCaffrey's workload. So I think everybody has Chuba Hubbard as a start, but I don't think everybody's really grasping onto the fact that Chuba Hubbard more than likely will have the same amount of touches as Christian McCaffrey. This was the case with Mike Davis last year when McCaffrey was hurt. Chuba Hubbard, younger, more athletic, fresher set of legs. This is going to happen for the Carolina Panthers. They're going to give Chuba Hubbard the reins of the running back position. Royce Freeman will work in there, yeah, obviously, but Hubbard is the guy that you need to buy on PredictionStrike. Now we'll go on to players that you need to sell on PredictionStrike. Player number 1, it is going to be Dallas Goedert. Goedert is splitting touches with Zach Ertz, and this Eagles passing offense is not as great as we expected. Now, there is room for Goedert to turn around, but let's look at the analysis. Has the same amount of targets as Zach Ertz, 11 targets on the season. He can be sold now or after the big game. So against the Chiefs, if you really believe that the Chiefs and the Eagles game is going to be a shootout, which more than likely it could be, and you think that Goddard's going to have a big game, that's your prerogative. Sure. Like if you want to sell him after that and let his stock price raise up, okay. But his outlook for the season, this is just season long. I'm telling you that Dallas Goedert is not going to be the greatest player that you want to invest in the stock market. He's going for $4.65 a share right now. So if you sell that would be the price. I got a free share of Dallas Goedert from people signing up using the promo code T2F. You get a free share as well. I get a free share in a random player. And we both so happen to get Dallas Goedert. And right now what I'm doing, since I didn't invest a lot of money in Dallas Goedert, I didn't invest anything. It was free. I'm just waiting for him to have that big game, and then I can sell him. But if you already invested a lot of money in Dallas Goedert, it might be sooner rather than later that you may want to sell Dallas Goedert. Player to sell number 2, I said that he was a buy a couple weeks ago. Now I'm going to say that he's a sell just because nothing is happening with him. It's going to be Le'Veon Bell. 15 cents a share. That's the price that I mentioned on the show a couple weeks back when he was a must-buy. He will remain on the practice squad. That's the reason. They have hope in Tyson Williams, Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray. He's only going to be activated if active running backs are injured, so there's really not much to talk about there. Unless he, like I said, a player gets hurt, he's going to get activated, and then he'll do well. If not, I'll just sell the guy. Not really worth holding on to. And the last player that I want to mention that you need to sell on PredictionStrike, it's going to be Ryan Tannehill. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are going to be hurt for this weekend. The status is unclear for Julio Jones, but coming from a Falcons fan, I could tell you, don't have a lot of hope for Julio Jones playing this Sunday. This game against the Jets as well might be a blowout. So who's to think that the Titans are going to be passing the ball a lot? Okay, this defense of the Titans could perform well, and Derrick Henry, could be running the ball. Actually, he will be the featured player in this game plan, getting at least 25 carries, I expect, in this game. So Tannehill, I had him as a must start. I'm going to change that. I'm going to comment on the Source of Sits video, pin that comment on the top of the comment section, and say, listen, he was a must start, but now that Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are out, I'd go ahead and sit the guy. $11.67 a share. Yeah, that's a good price that you'd want to sell. If you have a few shares of Ryan Tannehill, you can make some money doing that before you lose some money before this game. I don't think he's going to get over 18, 19 fantasy points, whatever he's projected on PredictionStrike. Now, one player that you need to hold just for this weekend. Let's see how it works out. I have a lot of faith in my boy, Antonio Gibson, this Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. $2.39 a share. He went up 9 cents, dropped a little bit in price after he didn't meet his expectations a couple weeks ago. But we expect a big game against Atlanta. The game script will allow for more carries. Jaden McKissick against the New York Giants. Those games, Antonio Gibson did not get a lot of touches. The game script, it was pass heavy. This game, I don't expect it to be pass heavy. We have the Atlanta Falcons offense kind of sputtering against the Washington defense. He's projected 14.76 points in fantasy football. Hey, we project 20 or more carries for Antonio Gibson. I think they're going to run the ball. And that's one of Atlanta Falcons' their weak points is stopping the run. So I think Gibson has a good game. But those are some players that you need to buy, sell, and hold in PredictionStrike for the stock market of the NFL. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts. Let us know some players that you would want to drop, you'd want to sell or buy in the stock market. Use the promo code T2F. Click that link in the description. Sign up, and if you deposit $20 or more, you get a free share of a player. So worth it. So much fun. Now we're going to be talking about PrizePicks. This is lots of fun as well. You just pretty much pick the overs and unders on fantasy football projections. That's it. And if you tuned in for this segment last week on air, live, I made my picks and I won $100. I'm not crapping with you. I put in $10 and I won $100. I picked Tyler Lockett to get under 19 fantasy points, Baker Mayfield to get under 19, a couple more, Patrick Mahomes to get under 27, Austin Hooper to get over 8 fantasy points, Kareem Hunt to get over 2 receptions. I picked all these guys, right? And I won $100. I just put in $10 and that's it. So I'm telling you, this is definitely worth it. If you don't believe me, go back to last week's video, watch that video. I'm still shocked. But I'm going to give you players that you need to take the under on and players that you need to take the over on based off their projections on PrizePicks. So you just click the link in the description, go to PrizePicks, make an account, and they match your deposit if you use the promo code T2F of up to $100. So put in $100, you pretty much get $100 of free money that you can use to play and make more money. And this is what this segment is about, helping you guys make more money. So players that you need to take the under on in PrizePicks. Let's first start with the 3 players. It's going to be Ryan Tannehill. We just talked about him when we talked about PredictionStrike. Under 21 fantasy points is our projection. That's what he's going on PrizePicks. So they changed their projections based off of, like, once Julio Jones gets he's officially out, then Ryan Tannehill's projection is going to change on PrizePicks. It's going to drop. I would take the projection and take the under on him before his projection were to drop. 21 points is pretty high. I take the under. I'm 80% confident that Tannehill gets under 21 fantasy points against the New York Jets. Just not a lot of passing room with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones hurt in that offense. It's going to be Derrick Henry that runs that ball. Now, player that you need to take the under on, number 2, I mean, it's going to have to be Derek Carr. I don't think anybody is really knocking Derek Carr this year. I mean, he's a very good quarterback. I think people are starting to acknowledge how good of a quarterback Derek Carr is, but I think people are undervaluing the amount of talent that Asante Samuel and the rest of this Los Angeles Chargers secondary has been looking this year. They've been solid against quarterbacks. The only quarterback that has actually passed or put up more than 21 fantasy points against the LA Chargers, Patrick Mahomes, and it was only 22.9. They got a few interceptions out of Patrick Mahomes. So what's the thing that Derek Carr, he's not going to get the same kind of treatment? Like, he's projected, we're 75 confident that Derek Carr is going to get under 21 fantasy points for week 4 against the LA Chargers. So that's a player that you want to take the under on PrizePicks. Now, the last player you want to take the under on, I don't think he's going to meet this fantasy football projection, but it's going to have to be Matt Ryan. Last week we said that he's going to pass for over 2 touchdowns. We want some money off of that. And this week, we don't think that he's going to get under or over 20 fantasy points. He's our bust of the week in our fantasy football starts and sits video. If you haven't seen that, pretty much what we say is the only pocket passer against Washington was Justin Herbert, and he only put up 13 fantasy points. And the only people that put up over 20 fantasy points were solid rushing quarterbacks, like Daniel Jones, 9 rushes, 95 yards, and a touchdown. That's not going to happen with Matt Ryan. So you got to look at just the passing numbers, and it's going to be a bust for Matt Ryan, unfortunately, against the Washington football team. Now let's take a look at players that you want to take the over on. Now, we also talk about stat projections. They have stat projections on PrizePicks, not just fantasy football points, but stat projections. So on PrizePicks, over Jonathan Taylor, 1.5 receptions. We think that he's going to get over that. Listen, that's 2 receptions. That's it. If he gets 2 catches, you win some money. He's had 1 catch in every game the last couple of weeks. And then in week 1 against the Seahawks, guess what? He had 6 receptions for 7 targets. So the PrizePicks projection is pretty low, that it's only 1.5 receptions. We think that he could go back to that 6 reception game that he had against the Seahawks. I know Nyheim Hines is working in there, but that's why we're only 70% confident, because of Nyheim Hines. But we believe that for the most part, Jonathan Taylor, 2 receptions for Jonathan Taylor. I think it's going to happen. Player number 2 that you want to take the under on. Now, this is, or the over on, another reception, another stat line. Myles Gaskin. Gaskin has been targeted at least 5 times in every game this season. Has at least 3 receptions in every game this season. So if he's had at least 3 games with at least 3 receptions, who's not to think that he has a chance of topping that? Guess what? If he gets 3 receptions, it just cancels out. You don't win money, you don't lose money. So what's the harm? What's the harm in that? I'm only 60% confident in this because I don't know what Brian Flores is thinking as far as the playing time of Myles Gaskin. I really don't. But I think that he is going to be the third down pass catching back, obviously, and they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. So I think that Jacoby Brissett dumps it off to Myles Gaskin a few times, and they connect at least 3 times, if not more than that. And if they connect more, you win some money. Now, the last player that you want to take the over on PrizePicks, this is a fantasy football projection, Rob Gronkowski. Again, I'm beating this to the ground. 11.5 fantasy points. Look at the confidence level that we have. 90% confident that he scores over that. Dude, 4 receptions and a touchdown. 4 receptions for 5 yards and a touchdown. That equals 11.5 fantasy points. 3 receptions and 15 yards and a touchdown. 2 receptions, 25 yards and a touchdown. I mentioned touchdown a lot because it's almost guaranteed that Gronk is going to get a touchdown. They're going to force him the ball in the end zone against the Patriots. They want to have this hoorah moment. Oh, Brady to Gronk. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I would advise you to go ahead and make that projection and take the over on that. Now, last week, I said that I made some serious cash taking the over and the unders on PrizePicks. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know that I'm going to show you guys PrizePicks on my computer again. Let me go ahead and sign in real quick while you guys are staying with me here. And let you guys know that I am not BSing you at all. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to my computer. How do I do this? Okay, perfect. So, seriously, guys, look at the amount of money I won. I put in originally $250, and that's how much money I won. $578. Let's go to NFL, okay? Let's go ahead and take fantasy football scores. So Matt Ryan, I said take the under. Let's take the under on all of these. Let me actually put myself in the corner so you guys can see this. This is live. I'm going to take Matt Ryan for sure. Who else do we've got? We've got Derek Carr was another one of the guys that we want to go ahead and take the under on. So he plays Monday night. He'll be at the bottom. Right? And then we had Ryan Tannehill as well. I don't think that this is going to be a good passing game for him. Under Matt Ryan, under Derek Carr, under Ryan Tannehill. Now we've got some overs for sure. For sure. We're going to take Rob Gronkowski in that Sunday night football game. Okay? Now you can only have 5 in one prediction max. Otherwise, I would choose all 6 that I projected. Now, the other one was Myles Gaskin and Jonathan Taylor. So we go to single stat. We go to receptions. Let's see. Who should I pick? Gaskin or Taylor? Because I can only pick one of them. See, Jonathan Taylor, his projection went up to 2. So already the 1.5 projection that I stated, yeah, people are catching on that he's going to get more than that. So, because of that, let me go ahead. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'll go Gaskin. I'll go ahead and say that Gaskin gets over 3 receptions. So let me go ahead and say, let me put in $10. $10. That's it for a chance to win 100. And if one of them is wrong, then I can still win $20. So let me place that entry. Boom. It's been placed on air. You guys know that this is a legit thing. So PrizePicks. Use the promo code T2F. Sign up. Click that link in the description. So much fun. So worth it. All right. Now let's get into fantasy football questions. Golly. My voice has just been given out the last couple of days. It's COVID, bro. It's COVID. Your voice is given out? That's COVID, dude. You haven't been drinking enough water? That's COVID. Dude, you have cholera? That's COVID. Shingles? I don't know about that. That's COVID, bro. Get that test. You need to get tested. Let's go ahead and answer fantasy football questions that you guys have been leaving in the chat so far because I have been going way over the time. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with some questions. Mr. Wong, I started Shark. I am so sorry to hear that. Yeah, injuries are just so unpredictable. Man, it sucks, dude. Hey, coming from a guy that I had 7 starters in one of my leagues get hurt last year. It sucked. Devin Singletary ended up being my running back 1 because everybody was hurt. I understand the pain. CD or Corey Davis in the flexes by James Zachary. You got to go with CD, man. I know that Corey Davis is due for a big game, but the talent of CD is it's there. It's there. I know he's splitting touches with, Amari Cooper and all them, but I would go CD personally. Way more trustworthy than Corey Davis, even though I think Corey Davis is going to get a lot of targets for sure. Simple Trading Joe. Hey, new here. Hey, welcome in, dude. Need some help. Play Washington D versus Atlanta or Cowboys D versus Carolina. Let me know. Don't care if you're right, but need some input. Oh, dude, I appreciate that. Hey, I'm not the best at fantasy football. I'm not, as soon as I say that, everybody's like, oh, phew, unsubscribe. I think I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel that gives a second opinion. And I watch a lot of football. I watch a lot more football than like the average person just because this is my job and I'm just invested in it. So because of that, I'm giving my opinions on it. And most of the time, I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. You take it how it is. That's why I give you my success rate on the Fantasy Football Starts and Sits video. Like, hey, if you want to trust me on quarterbacks because quarterbacks' success rate is awesome, sure. If you don't trust me on defense, sleeper of the week with the Bengals, then you don't have to trust me on that. Okay, so to answer your question, Simple Trading Joe, need some help, play Washington D versus Atlanta or Cowboys D versus Carolina. Man, I would go with Washington defense just because talent-wise they're just better than the Cowboys defense. Secondary of the Cowboys is not that bad. But Atlanta Falcons offense has also been struggling as well. So I think that Matt Ryan, like I said, is going to be a bust. And Mike Davis, I don't know why we even bother signing him. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, Washington for sure. Let's see. Wow, there's a lot. There's quite a bit. Let's scroll a little bit up to the top. I picked up McManus recently, hoping he can put up some good stats. I dropped Koo. He hasn't been nearly as good as. Yeah, McManus has been solid for the Denver Broncos. Now against the Ravens, they might be struggling to move the ball down the field, but McManus is still a better play than, unfortunately, Younghoe Koo at this point. The GOAT. I know. He just hasn't been given the opportunities. What else do we've got? Robinson or Gibson the rest of the season, PPR. You guys have been commenting like Jeff Fields. You've been asking your input on there as well. Octavio, dude, I would go with Gibson. Robinson is in limbo right now. Don't know what's going on with that quarterback position. Don't know what's going on with that Bears offense. Dude, don't even know what's going on with the Washington football team running game. Is it Gibson? Is it McKissick? Gibson is going to get at least 15 carries in this game. He's the goal line back too, so I think they can move it down the field and score in Atlanta. It's a good matchup. I'd do it. What else do we've got? Here's an update. George Kittle is not guaranteed to play on Sunday versus the Seahawks. Breaking news! Breaking news that you can only get on Time2Football. Hey, this is the fastest that we've reported it on any YouTube channel. That's going on right now. 10:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. George Kittle not guaranteed to play. Boom. Quick news. Can't get that anywhere else. Anyways, you guys are talking about NFL.com, ESPN scoring formats. Flex, Elijah Mitchell or Claypool, half PPR, Emerald Eyes. Monitor Elijah Mitchell. If he goes into the weekend questionable and he's limited all week, that kind of concerns me because I'm like, Kyle Shanahan, I don't know how he's going to use his running backs. Claypool, 9 receptions last week for 95 yards. That kind of gives me a little bit of hope. So if it's half PPR as well, yeah, I'd lean in on Claypool. I'd flex in Claypool over Elijah Mitchell for sure. Let's answer a couple more. We are running a little bit late. Simple Trading Joe said, play Joe Burrow last night and sat Lamar. I'm okay with the play, but still wish I got that rushing touchdown. Yeah, that would have been nice. That would have been nice for Joe Burrow and his fantasy output. Lax Kid, you say Corey Davis, Melvin Gordon, or Fournette at flex. I'm going to go with Corey Davis. Melvin Gordon's going to be limited, or he might be missing this game. And Fournette, he might be involved in the pass game, but dude, I'm telling you, dude, even when the score is out of hand, they're going to continue to pass that ball. Fournette, nah, I wouldn't do it. Don't even think about a receiving touchdown for Fournette because that's going to go to Antonio Brown or Rob Gronkowski. Corey Davis is the guy. Okay, let's take some time to answer a couple more. Melvin Gordon, Michael Pittman, and the flex. It's got to be Pittman. Melvin Gordon more than likely won't be playing. Deebo Samuel or this by Lawrence Mueller. Deebo Samuel or Darrell Henderson in Standard League. Standard League, you got to go with Darrell Henderson. Although both of them, I like them as starts. I really do. But Darrell Henderson has been getting a lot of snaps for the LA Rams when he's healthy. So I would go with him. Okay, fine. I'll answer a couple more. It's Friday. Why not? Do I start Deontay Johnson or Miles Sanders at flex? Is this PPR? PPR, Deontay, Standard, Miles Sanders. Corey Davis or Brandon Cooks. Don't love Houston pass game against Buffalo. Also hate the Jets offense. I agree with you, dude. I would start Corey Davis. I am so big on Corey Davis this week, dude. So big. Okay, I have been running way too long, so I got to go ahead and end this show. But I am very, very appreciative that you guys took the time to join us for this episode of Time to Football. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel so you guys can stay up to date with this Monday through Friday live show every single day, 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know I'm running late sometimes, starting it, ending it, kind of go over, but whatever. Hey, should I do a live stream this Sunday morning, answering fantasy football questions? I thought about it. I don't know. With all that said, though, let me think about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.